Hi everybody, welcome to Unit 8, Lesson 4, Surface Area of Pyramids. So, once we get into pyramids, the surface area formulas get really funky, as you can see on the screen. These are all listed in your lesson, so definitely look through those as well, but we're going to walk through them, and it's really just plugging things in and then making sure that we do things in the right order, okay? So, let's see here. The surface area for a rectangular pyramid is the length times the width plus 1/2 times the width times the square root of 4h squared plus the slant height squared plus 1/2 times the slant height times the square root of 4 times the height squared plus the width squared. Holy moly, right? And so, but we're going to walk through it. And so make sure to pause the video if you need to and take notes. If you have a square pyramid, we've got this right here. So we've got the A stands for the length of the base, okay? And then there's the height in there as well. And again, we'll walk through it, okay? And then surface area of a regular triangular pyramid. When I say regular, it must be equilateral, okay? Meaning every side on the triangle of the base is the same length, okay? So, and I have that right here. So B equals the base edge, A equals the base height, and L equals the lateral face height, and the base must be an equilateral triangle. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So for question number 1, find the surface area of a rectangular pyramid with these measurements. Okay, so the length and the width of the rectangular base are 8 and 4. So that might look something like this. So this would be like 4 centimeters, this is 8 centimeters, okay, and then all of that comes to a point on the pyramid like, like that, okay, and then the height, that would be like from the apex down to the base. Okay, and that's always a perpendicular distance. So in this case, that would be 2. Now, obviously, this is not to scale, but hopefully that at least gives you an idea. Okay, so then we go ahead and we plug everything in. Now I'm gonna come down here to do it, so I make sure that I have plenty of room. So the surface area is equal to the length times the width. So that would be like 4 times 8. Plus, and I'm gonna say that that's my length, that's my width, and that's my height. Okay. Oh, actually, in the problem above, I had it opposite, but that's okay. So, actually, maybe we'll switch it back. So that's my length. That's my width. That way, it matches the original problem. Okay. So let me start over with that. So my length I have is 8, and then my width is 4, plus 1/2 my width. So 1/2 times 4 times the square root of 4 times the height squared plus the length squared plus 1/2 times my length, which is 8, and then times 4 times the height squared plus the width squared. So all I did was I took my values and I plugged them into each part of this equation. Okay, so I know it looks very, very intimidating, but it's not going to be that bad. All right, so first, and we can think about gems, or I still prefer PEMDAS, but gems meaning grouping symbols first, then exponents, then multiplication and division, and then subtraction and addition. And we do those in the order that we see them. Okay, so with this, I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to do it step by step, okay? Because first I'm going to consider my grouping symbols. Well, that's this right here. So within here, well, I have 2 squared. That's like 2 times 2, which is 4. So now I have 4 times 4 plus, and then 8 squared is 64. So plus 64. Then we have plus 1/2 times 8. And then under this grouping symbol, again I have 4 times 4 squared, so that's like 4 times 4. And then plus 4 squared, which is 16. Okay, again focusing only on my grouping symbols right now, which maybe you are at the point where you can also consider like doing this multiplication out here, knowing that it comes before addition. If you can, awesome. If not, that's okay. That's why I'm taking it step by step. So with this one I have 16 plus 64. That's what I'm doing here. Okay, so 16 plus 64. All right, adding those together, I get 80. Plus, and then we have 1/2 times 8 times the square root, and let's see, this was 16 plus 16, so that is just 32. Okay, now this is where it gets a little funky because we've got those square roots in there, right? And so we need to do, we need to apply those square roots. So first I've got the square root of 80. Well, let's see, 80 square rooted is about 8.94. So 8.94 plus, and then we have 1/2 times 8 times, and then the square root of 32 is about 5.66. Look at that. Now it's not too bad. Now it's just down to multiplication and addition. Okay, so we can go ahead and do our multiplication. We've got 8 times 4 is 32 plus, and then this right here I have 1/2 times 4. You can also think of it as half of 4. Half of 4 is 2. So we've got 2 times 8.94 plus, then I have half of 8, or 1/2 times 8. Well, that's 4 times, and then 5.66. Well, I've still got some multiplication to take care of. I have 2 times 8.94. That gives us 17.88 plus, and then we've got 4 times 5.66, which is 22.64. So then I'll add them together, 17.88 plus 22.64 plus 32 gives me 72 and 52/100ths, and they were centimeters, and we're still talking about surface area, so they would be squared. Whew, that's a lot of work. You should feel like a mathematician now. Okay, so, but really it's just plug and go, right? Plug and go. That's what we're doing. All right, what is the surface area of a square pyramid with a base length of 10 centimeters and a slant height of 20 centimeters? So this one I wanted to kind of show you like why it's built the way it's built, okay? So if I were to draw this, we've got, just pretend like that's a square. And that these are straight lines. Okay, so there's my square pyramid. And it says a base length, right? So that's like this. The base length is 10. Which also means this side is 10, right? If it's a square pyramid, that means all of the sides of the base are 10. And then the slant height, let me get a different color. The slant height, so that's like from the apex down to the edge like that, okay, that is 20 centimeters. Now that's important because one, I can find the area of the base just by doing A times A, or like this times this, right? Length times width is another way we can think of it. That's going to give me the area of my base, which in this case is 10 times 10, or 100. Now, the slant height, or the surface area of each of the triangles. So when I say the triangles, I mean like those, the lateral faces. That's these guys right here. That's this one, right? And there's 4 of those, and technically they're identical because they all have the same slant height and they have the same base, right? And the area of a triangle is found by taking 1/2 times the base times the height, or in this case we could say we have 4 of those, and of in math means to multiply. So 4 times 1/2 times the base times the height. Okay, and if we look back at the first page, okay, it's really crazy. It looks like this, okay, but we can go ahead and fill that in as well. So let's take a look. Let me write it down real quick. Sorry, I should have already had it written down. A squared, so that's that first part that we already talked about, and then 2a, and then the square root of a squared over 4 plus the height squared. Okay, so let's see, if we fill all of that in, well, a squared, we already did that, but we have 10 squared plus 2 times 10 times, and then we have, oops, I should have written 10 squared over 4 plus, and then the slant height of, what was it, 20. Okay, so let's see what we come up with. So 10 squared we know is 100 plus, and then let's see, we can go ahead and do this because we need to complete the multiplication before we add. So that would be plus 20, and then in here we've got 10 squared over 4. Well, that's 100 over 4 plus 20. So out here we still got 100 plus 20. Well, 100 divided by 4 is 25. So square root of 25 plus 20. Okay. 100 plus 20, and then the square root of 45. Well, let's figure out what is the square root of 45. Square root of 45, I just did on my calculator, is equal to 6.71. And then I'm going to multiply that by 20. That gives me about 134.16. And then add those together, we get 234.16. And these, again, were centimeters squared. So it's just all about filling in that formula in order to get to the correct answer. Okay? Now this next one, this is, oh, sorry, there's my dog trying to be all tough. Let me get over to, hey, that's enough. Sorry, guys. Let me get over to your quick check. Sorry, I should have been there already. Sometimes I forget. All right, well, while it's getting set up, number 3 that we're going to do today, this is number 4 on your quick check. A pastry chef is creating a chocolate dessert in the shape of a triangular pyramid. The pyramid has a base of 5 inches. The height of the base is 4.3 inches, and the slant height is 6 inches. And I wrote a little key here. A is equal to the base height, and I'll talk about that in a minute. B is the base edge, and L is slant height. So if it's a triangular pyramid, and they really like to test my drawing skills, don't they? I know, we'll say it looks like that, okay? So there's my base, all right? And then, oh, actually, it should have been, sorry, it should be an equilateral triangle, right? So if I do that, then that would look something like this. So the base edge is 5 inches. So these would each be 5 inches. Okay, and then here's my apex, and then we'll bring it down like that. And then when it says the height of the base, okay, the height of the base, that is like from one vertex of the base to the opposite edge, okay? That's what it means by the height, all right? So that right here, that is what is a length of 4.3 inches. And then the slant height, let me get another color, got to keep track of everything. Oh, and let's see here, we could say, let's see, this one was purple. Oops, this one is turquoise in my drawing, and then my slant height is going to be green, and that was 6 inches. So what that means is from the apex down to the base edge, okay, that's the one that is 6 inches. All right, so there's a little bit of a color code for you. And then we have this formula that we're going to be using, okay? So let me see, hopefully I'll have enough room to do it right here. We have 1/2 times A times B, right? And it might help me right here to say, okay, my base height was 4.3, my base edge is 5, and my slant height is 6. So if I'm filling in this formula, for A, I have 4.3. For B, I have 5. And then we have plus 3 times 1/2 times the slant height times the base edge. Okay? And again, it's just plugging in to these formulas. So let's see here. I know that 1/2 times 5 is 2.5, right? Half of 5 is 2.5. So I could do that in my head before I jump to a calculator. Right here, half of 6 is 3, so we could say plus 3 times and then 3 times 5. And then, let's see, on my calculator, 2.5 times 4.3, well, that gives me 10.75 plus, and then this would be, this is 15, right? So we have 3 times 15, which is 45. So we'll add 45 to that. And that gives us 55.75. And these were inches. So they're going to be inches squared. So that one's a little easier. In my opinion, there's no square roots or anything like that. But yeah, these, if you have trouble with these, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help. Okay? Have a great day.